So I already reviewed the Mexican film where Santa Claus fought the devil, and I've already reviewed Santa Claus Conquerors the Martians. So let's complete the unofficial trilogy with Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny. New Empire. The film begins with a bunch of kids playing elves singing out of sync with each other. Kids from Roof Foreman's Pied Piper Playhouse. Why would you name your playhouse after the Pied Piper? Did you not understand what that story was about? The elves try remembering the lyrics and fail and play with already built toys to look busy in front of Santa's cameras. But oh no, the stock footage of real reindeer show that Santa's nowhere to be found. Oh well, back to singing and working, I guess. We never see the elves again in this film, so I like to imagine shortly after it sinks in, they start having a Christmas party.
There's a very good reason
narrator jump scare.
for Santa not being there. Of all places for Santa to be in his sleigh, stuck in the sand, thousands of miles from the North Pole, way down in Florida.
Sure looks stuck in a whole centimeter of sand.
Without his reindeer, because they were so hot, they took off to the North Pole.
So the reindeer hate him so much they just took off without Santa. He couldn't even just ride on the back of one. Santa attempts to get out of the sand by just looking disappointed at the sand, but that doesn't do anything. So Santa starts singing the Woe Is Me song, as we see some kids playing, and then Santa uses his magic powers to freeze time, I guess. Lucky for this kid as he tries to pull a Hank Venture. Why would they actually show this? Then Santa Claus takes a nap.
Scotty! Steve?
I guess Santa's telepathy only works when he's sleeping.
Bobby! Rebel! Girl!
I guess they ran out of names, so they're just girls. Then silently, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn are in this film. I'm not kidding. For real, Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, for whatever reason, are now in Florida instead of, Missouri, and in modern times, as of when this came out. And they look like Zack and Cody in Straw Hats. It's kind of pointless for them to even be here because they don't even join the other kids to help Santa Claus. They just kind of hide in the bushes like a bunch of weirdos. Almost feels like the producers' kids or whoever wanted to be in the film and they added it in last second. But at least they got a raccoon. And speaking of, the other kids find a bunch of random animals to help Santa, like a guy in a gorilla costume. A horse? Hey, Santa found some shades. And I guess he lost them. A random wild pig, which... What did they do to piss off that pig? A sheep, a cow, another horse. Did they just raid a petting zoo? But nothing's working. Santa just tries scraping away the sand, proving how little amount of sand the thing's actually stuck in. If it's really wedged in there, you could just get this class of kids to pull the sled and you push from behind. But instead, Santa decides to tell a story. For reasons. About this girl who's at an amusement park, Pirate World, where the film was made. A now defunct amusement park. And we see a bunch of attractions, like this horse ride, which there's no seatbelt, so I imagine some kids definitely flew off of it. And this is the rest of the film. Up until the very end, it's Santa's story. Given the title, you would think this is Santa talking about what the ice cream bunny is, and then he'll show up at the end or something. But no, instead, he's telling the story of Thumbelina. It actually gets complicated because there's an alternate version of this film, where he's telling Jack and the Beanstalk. As discovered by Riff Tracks, with the Jack cut being widescreen and the Thumbelina cut being full screen, which might mean the Jack cut was the theatrical cut and they changed it to being Thumbelina for the theater. Wait a minute, that means that this film aired in theaters? Despite not even being referenced on IMDb, the Jack cut has now become the most standard version because it's in a lot better quality and again, it's in a better aspect ratio. So you can actually stream this on Amazon Prime. You can stream this, but you can't even stream Ben 10 Omniverse currently. But I'll be sticking with the Thumbelina cut because it's the more famous one. And yeah, we just kind of watched this different film of Thumbelina for a while, of this girl having fun at Pirate Land, and then she goes to watch a play of Thumbelina. So Santa Claus is telling a story about someone going to watch a story about a seamstress who wants to have a kid, but no one will have her. So she buys a seed from a witch that says they'll grow into a kid, and they do, but oh no, they're only 5'6" and tiny. And 1984. She goes to bed, but then gets encountered by the leopard print frog and his creepy mom who wants to set them two up. She escapes, but then runs into these creeps. Being a story from the 70s, you should already know you should be Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds right now.
Why don't we mash her, or squeeze her, or pinch her, or do something?
Your mic sucks! Now lost in the woods, Thumbelina is scared, but then it starts raining asbestos, so she goes inside a mole house. The mole looks less like a mole and more like the crows from Fritz the Cat. Then Mr. Mole shows up, and he's a psychopath who shows Thumbelina a dead bird, then takes her back to his pad, and asks her to marry him.
A funny world. Here I am with everything, and I'm unhappy. And there you are, a beautiful child with everything to look forward to, and you're unhappy.
Yeah, whatever, Dan Schneider. The mainstream knows what you did now. But I guess Thumbelina says, well, he's rich, might as well. So then she gets prepared to get married. But it turns out the bird's actually alive. And the bird's like, this is weird, let's get out of here. Then they fly against a white background. You can even see the bird's feathers shadow. And then we recap Thumbelina in case you forgot already. And a reminder that this is a story of a girl watching a live performance of Thumbelina in an amusement park being told by Santa Claus to a bunch of kids in Florida because he's stuck. But wait, hush, listen to what the flower people say. Then Thumbelina chooses to stay with the flower people at the end. Seriously, after this we see a little bit more of Pirate Land, a credit for Pirate Land, and literally the end. Then we cut back to Santa Claus in case you forgot from the beginning of the film, and all the kids run away as he takes off his coat. And 10 minutes before the end, we finally get to meet the ice cream bunny. They might as well just call this film Santa Claus and Thumbelina, or Santa Claus and Jack the Beanstalk, depending on what you're watching. The kids found the ice cream bunny because he's driving around an old-timey fire truck. They try singing, but luckily the loud siren blares it all out. Now, a 5-minute drive back to Santa Claus in real time. For whatever reason, he quickly puts back on his robe, and then he poses like the graduate. Santa already knows who the ice cream bunny is, apparently, and he looks just about as bad as you would hope. I don't even know why he's called the ice cream bunny. Like, he drives an old-timey fire truck, not an old-timey ice cream truck. Is he made out of ice cream? I don't know. Maybe the people who made this film thought the Easter Bunny was copyrighted. But after some chit-chat, they decide just the bunny's gonna drop Santa Claus off at the North Pole, and they drive off. Well, that was simple enough. But wait a minute. What are they gonna do with the sled? They can't just leave it. What the fuck?
Like magic. When Santa arrived back at the North Pole, they're waiting for him.
They could have just teleported this entire time. I like to imagine after the elves were done partying, they finally got the teleporter working, just as Santa Claus left with the Easter Bunny. This film's garbage. Well, yeah, obviously, look at it. The film looks exactly like how you would think it does, and the other stories take up way too much time. It's kind of interesting there's two different cuts to this film, but I don't get why they do exist. Especially with the framing device of Santa Claus, it just feels like they should have just released Jack and Thumbelina. The film is somehow worse and looks even cheaper than the other two films. And the film just looks and feels like a giant advertisement for Pirate World, which no longer exists. If you like bad movies and like making fun of them, this is definitely a good watch, but as a film itself, it's garbage. Even worse than Santa Claus and Santa Claus Conquers the Martian. 2.5 out of 10. Remember to like, share, comment, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button.